being a far time from us, the past is often misunderstood by many. Romans and Greeks forged our civilization, and yet some still forget some relevant details about it. So here are 5 facts about Greece and Rome you probably didn't know. But before we start, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to receive notifications about amazing new content from our channel. This being said, let us begin. 1. Our modern democracy wasn't invented by the Greeks. Although the word democracy is the Greek term used to refer to a modern voting system, things were quite different in ancient Greece. First of all, not every Greek city had a voting system. However, Athens, which is the most important city in the history of ancient Greece, had a democratic system. By this we mean that a large quantity of the people could in theory vote. However, women and foreigners along with children were excluded. Furthermore, even if it was theoretically possible for everyone to speak in the General Assembly and let their voice be heard, in practice only a few people would say anything. As a matter of fact, not everyone was even willing to partake the gathering. 2. Rome had not always been an empire. Originally founded as a village of shepherds, the city of Rome in Italy hasn't always been an empire. The legend has it, Rome was governed by a succession of 7 kings until 509 BC, when the last king, Tarquinius the Proud, was thrown out of the city after having raped the wife of one of his closest friends. Rome then became a republic with a senate and with general assemblies. It was only by the end of the 1st century BC that Octavius, the adoptive son of Julius Caesar, started collecting titles for himself. In a few years, he first was proclaimed emperor, a word deriving from the Latin term imperator, and which in the previous Republican age meant something like military commander. After having been elected every year as a consul, in 27 BC he adopted the title of Prince of the Senate and of Augustus, a title that means more or less of divine authority. He then also collected some other titles such as the one of Pontifex Maximus, Maximal Pontiff, a religious figure. Finally, by the very end of the 1st century BC, he had gathered into his single person most of the political titles of the time, while still formally keeping Rome a republic. He died in 14 AD, and his successor Tiberius is formally considered the 2nd emperor of Rome. 3. Ancient Greek has been the common language for many centuries. Before being totally forgotten in the West in the Middle Ages, Ancient Greek had been the language generally used to communicate throughout the entire Mediterranean world. After Alexander the Great built his vast empire in the 4th century BC, people from Egypt to Rome and even from Syria to Libya spoke Attic Greek as their international means of communication. This went on even after the Roman Empire reached its maximal expansion until it got split in two, and the fall of the western part of it led to the beginning of the Middle Ages. In this later period, on the other hand, Greek became almost unknown, so much that to say "you speak Greek" meant "I don't understand you." So probably it is just a lucky time also for English. 4. Not all the Greeks and the Romans had the same religion. While we generally depict the Greeks as all worshipping Zeus and the Romans as worshipping Jupiter, things were a bit more complex than this. Especially after the birth of philosophy, people started having different ideas about the gods. Some, like Plato, thought that they could not do quote-unquote immoral things, such as revenging or being angry, while others, like Epicurus, believed that they did not care about us at all. When Oriental cults started coming into Europe, people even started worshipping different gods. In this cluster of cults, then, Christianity could make its way forward. 5. The Greeks didn't only write in stone. While it is really common to think of Greek and Latin writings as engraved on huge monuments or temples, most of the ancient literature we have received doesn't come from there. Papyri, parchment, and even pieces of pottery called ostraca were eligible materials for writing. Black and red ink were the most common ones, and the quills generally used were long sticks of wood or of other vegetable materials. In Roman schools, students used to write on tablets covered with wax by engraving the text with a pointy stick. To cancel it, it was only necessary to brush the wax and make it even again. If you enjoyed our video, please like it, share it, and subscribe for more, here on Historically.